Getting closer and closer to the start of the college football season. Rob Washburn here, and I'm Bobby Broyles as we preview Villanova on today's 12 Teams in 12 Days series. A great start for the Wildcats to begin last year with the upset win over city rival Temple, but for the second straight year, the injury bug hit this team hard and often that ended up derailing all that early momentum.
Yeah, unfortunately, the past two seasons have followed nearly the same script for Villanova. The Wildcats were a perfect 3-0 in non-conference play last year, highlighted by that impressive win over Temple to start the season before cruising past Lehigh and Bucknell. But a rash of injuries contributed to some tough losses in midseason. But Villanova was able to finish with some momentum after knocking off rival Delaware once again in the finale. This is a program that has proven it can compete with the best in FCS when its roster is at full strength, and hopefully they'll be able to stay healthy in 2019.
Offensively, Villanova will have to replace a lot of starters from last year, but because of those injuries on that side of the ball in 2018, a lot of experience will be back.
Yeah, on paper, Villanova has only 4 starters returning, but that number's a little deceiving because so many reserves got to see significant action last season with all those injuries. The biggest question mark is at quarterback, where junior Jack Chetlick, who made 6 starts over the past 2 years, will battle with redshirt freshman Kadir Ishmael, who saw action in 3 of the final 4 games, for the chance to replace veteran Zach Bednarzik. There are a pair of starters back at receiver with Shanga Hodge, who caught 22 balls for 344 yards last season, and Javon Jones. Now, tight end Salmon Bengelis made 8 starts in 2018 and contributed 15 receptions. There's also experience at running back with junior Justin Covington and sophomore Jalen Jackson, who both averaged better than 4 yards per carry last season. Guard MJ Dumas and center Paul Gratton are the leaders on the offensive line.
We spoke with Coach Mark Ferrante about some of these key players that will be back for the Villanova offense.
Well, we have, I'll start with the running back position, I guess. That's a rotational position. You're going to play more than one guy. Aaron Forbes, who was second-team All-League CA and our leading rusher the last 2 years, he did graduate, but we have Justin Covington and Jalen Jackson back, so some guys that have played significant snaps. So we feel pretty good about the running back situation. The quarterback is still competition. Jack Chetlick is our returning guy with the most experience. He's the guy who has backed up Zach, our graduating quarterback for the previous 2 years, and then Kadir Ishmael, who played some last year as a true freshman. Those are the 2 guys that are competing through the spring and then carrying into the preseason practice. Up front, we have some returning players. So on paper, you only have 4 returning starters. You lost 7. But when you look at, number one, the guys that got significant snaps last year because of injury to some of the other guys, that'll help hopefully moving forward. And then when you look at a position, as I mentioned, like running back or wide receiver, you rotate so many guys through. Sometimes a guy who's not listed as a starter might actually play more snaps in a game than the guy who is listed as a starter because he was in there for a series that was longer or something like that at wide receiver. You're going to play 4 or 5, maybe even 6 guys. So we do have some good receivers coming back. Shanga Hodge going into his senior year, Josh McGrigg going into his senior year, Zach Kirkston going into his senior year. They've all played a lot of football for us. So even though we lost starting slot receiver Jarrett McClinton, we lost starting tight end Ryan Bell, some of those guys missed games through injury. So the returning guys, as I mentioned, the receivers, and then Simon Bengelis and Todd Summers at tight end, they've played a lot of football for us. So we do have some experience coming back, even though on paper we don't have a lot of starters coming back.
Villanova defensively has traditionally been a strong unit and will look to keep that going in 2019.
Yeah, defense has been Villanova's calling card over the past several years, and 6 starters are back from a unit that ranked 3rd in the CA and 16th in FCS after allowing just 312 yards per game. The Wildcats' strength is in the secondary. Quarterback Jaquan Amos recorded a team-best 57 tackles and 2 interceptions last season, while cornerback Christian Benford was named CA Defensive Rookie of the Year after picking off a team-high 5 passes. There's also experience at safety with seniors Julian Williams and Chucky Smith. At linebacker, senior Drew Wiley tallied 55 tackles and 9.5 tackles for loss last season, and senior Keelan Hunter made 43 stops. The defensive line will have 2 new starters, but junior Malik Fisher is back at end after contributing a team-high 5 sacks in 2018.
Once again, here is Coach Ferrante on all the experience that returns on the Wildcats defense.
Again, when you look at the linebacker or D-line position, more so the D-line position. We did lose 2 starters. When you look at, we play a 3-down configuration on defensive line. So we only have one returning starter, Aaron Siegel, coming back. We lost Brian White, our nose guard. We lost Jafonte Johnson, our other D end. But we have Owen Thomas, we have Jarrett Nelson, we have Malik Fisher, we have guys that have been on the field and have had Peter Fallon, who's a returning senior, so he played a lot of snaps as a backup or a rotational guy. So again, you have experience there, but on paper, you lose 2 of the 3 starters. At linebacker, we have Drew Wiley, who's here with me today. He's going to be a 3-year starter. We have Keeling Hunter, who's going to be a 2-year starter. So we really only lost 1 true starting linebacker in Jeff Steve. And then we have Forrest Ryan, Amin Black, Trajan Anderson, who all played significant snaps last year. So again, we feel pretty good at the depth there. Okay, we don't have the starters, so-called starters coming back. We have guys that played a lot for us. And in the secondary, you have Julian Williams. He's going to be a 3-year starting strong safety. Chucky Smith, who's a 5th-year senior, coming back at safety. Our corners are back. Jaquan Amos, who started for 2 years as a freshman and sophomore and has played really well for us. Christian Benford, who was the CAA Rookie of the Year last year, starting at the other corner. Nola Awapetu, who played a ton because of some injury we had to guys like Rob Roll and those type of situations.
Carbon copy seasons for Villanova the last 2 years, with injuries to key players playing a big part of back-to-back 5 and 6 records. That has to be one of the 3 things you'll be watching for this year, right, Rob?
Yeah, it sure is. But number 1, let's start with defensive dominance. Villanova has featured one of the CA's top defenses for the past several years. 5 starters need to be replaced, but the Wildcats must maintain their high standard behind linebacker Drew Wiley and that talented secondary to take the pressure off all the newcomers on offense. Number 2, quarterback play. Villanova struggled offensively over the past 2 years when quarterback Zach Bednarczyk was injured. Whoever wins that quarterback battle between Jack Chetlik and Kadir Ishmael needs to take control of the offense and find a way to get some points on the board. And number 3, stay healthy. Every college football team deals with injuries, but the number of guys missing games at Villanova over the past 2 seasons has been unbelievable and likely cost them playoff berths. Hopefully the Wildcats have put their bad luck behind them and can stay healthy this season.
Villanova opens the 2019 season this Saturday at 12 noon at Colgate in front of a national television audience on the CBS Sports Network.
Also, CA football fans, we got to speak with Villanova tight end Simon Bengelis at Media Day. Check out the interview now on our multiple social media platforms and cafootball.com.
1 team left in our 12 teams and 12-day series as we preview William & Mary tomorrow as the Tribe begin the Mike London era in 2019. Have a great day, everyone.